10th of November, Rabbi Furst, Pierke Avos.
Okay, good morning. This is Rabbi Shlomo Furst, as Lou said, in here in Samanavshik, here in Zoom, here in Shalayim. This is our first year. We're learning the Pierke Avos, the fifth parak, and we're learning the Maral Prague, his commentary Derech HaChaim on Mishnah and Avos. And let's see. I'll see if I can put it on the screen share. Oh, okay. If you let me put the screen share on, I'll put it on the screen as well.
Okay. Let's see. That's not. No, that's not it. Okay. I think you can do it now.
Okay, yep, true enough. Okay, here we go. Okay.
So yesterday, you asked me to keep you informed. Yesterday, we pressed it. We pressed the tefillin a second time.
Okay. Yeah.
In order to get it more square. And I asked him, it looks like it's still not quite square, and he said, "Yeah, we're gonna have to press it 4 or 5 times before we get it all squared up."
Okay, and that's you use that's a mechanical press or it's a hand press?
It's mechanical. It's high. It works with air pressure.
Right.
And it puts 100 tons of pressure.
Right.
So it's very, very sophisticated item. Quite large. It stands about maybe 8 feet tall.
Right. And and you're working on just the tefillin, the shel yad right now, or the shel rosh you're working on?
It's just the shel yad. The rosh. Well, actually, we have been soaking the rosh. So we're working on both, but mostly the shel yad.
Mm.
And then he marked it. He said the next thing we have to do is fold the leather over to make the bottom. And
right.
I had to use a it will be able to.
Good morning, Roy.
Good morning, Rabbi Furst. Good morning, Lou.
Good to see you. How you been? Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Okay, glad to have you back with us.
I was just explaining to the rabbi that I'm working on making a set of tefillin.
Set of what?
Tefillin.
Oh.
Well, my son-in-law makes tefillin, and he graciously offered to let me make a set, and he would mentor me.
Uh-huh.
So it's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it.
Right.
Very nice. Yeah, Be'ez Hashem. That should be great. That's very, very, very nice thing to do. Baruch Hashem. Okay. All right. I'll tell you what we can do. Since it needed a little bit clarification in any event, maybe let's go back and review the last few paragraphs, and that way we can catch up with us. We're discussing if you remember, Roy, the Mishnah in Avos, the fifth parak. I believe it's the 8th Mishnah there, that there was a Sarah Devarim Nivra Erev Shabbos Bein Shmoshes during Ma'aser Bereshis. So we have these 10 things that were created in this very special time of Bein Shmoshes, and the Maral explains the uniqueness of that time and why they had to be done specifically at those times, and hasn't gone into why these specific 10 things. We'll get to that eventually, but now he's focusing on the the point of why it had to take place at that specific time, Banish Mushes, meaning the end of the tail end of the 6 days of creation and the beginning of Shabbos, and it hadn't yet come to the new cycle of the of what we call the Yemei Amaisa, right? That we're now going to go back to the paragraph. Let's start with the paragraph which says, "The Fikach Nivra be'erev Shabbos." So I think the third one from the bottom.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, should I read?
Yeah, sure.
Lefichach nivra'o erev Shabbat bein hashmashos dvarim shehem lemala min hakeva einam im. So therefore, the creations during twilight, on the eve of Shabbos, that is the first Shabbos, these things were elevated above nature, and they're not natural. Timo she nivro b'sheshes yemei hamaaseh, like that, those things that are created in the normal days.
I mean, during those things was created during the 6 days of creation. The Sheshes Yemei Hamaaseh. Well,
sorry. Yeah,
you're what?
they're like those things that are created during the first 6 days.
Meaning, yeah, because those, yeah, the Sheshes Yemei Hamaaseh. See, there's a disconnect. There's Sheshes Yemei Abreshis and Sheshes Yemei Hamaaseh. There, the 6 days of action, of deed, and then you have the 6 days of creation. Now, the 6 days of deed, Sheshes Yemei Hamaaseh, those are the days, are the normal weekdays, and those actually hadn't really begun to function until after the first Shabbos, right? Because the first 6 days that preceded the first Shabbos, those were referred to as the Sheshes Yemei Abreshis, the 6 days of creation. They were unique in and of themselves. The things were being created, as we say, yesh mi'ayin, something from nothing, right? So, but they're natural in their functioning. They're miraculous in their creation, but they're natural in their functioning. In contrast, the 6 days of Maaseh, Sheshes Yemei Hamaaseh, they're natural both in their creation, and they're natural also in their functioning, right? And the Shabbos, the first Shabbos, that represented the interface, the phase between the 6 days of creation, Sheshes Yemei Abreshis, and the Sheshes Yemei Hamaaseh, the 6 days of the week. And now these things, the Banish Mushes, is a further interface between the 6 days of creation, Sheshes Yemei Abreshis, and the Shabbos, which is going to come, which is going to infuse into these things that are going to be created during that Banish Mushes time, that twilight zone. They're going to have a special element of Kedusha, and also something which has to do whether it's a certain supernaturalness about them, that the things during these 6 days of creation were natural in terms of their functioning. And the things which take place during the 6 days of Maaseh, Sheshes Yemei Hamaaseh, those are completely natural in their functioning. And so that's what he's explaining over here. It says, it's impossible that these natural things could have been created, right? Which are the natural things. They're natural things. These 10 things are natural, but they're on a different madrega. They have a different status than those things of the normal 6 days of the weekdays. Okay, go ahead, continue on. Mayor, good morning, Mayor. Here's Mayor's joining us now also. Okay.
Hey, Mayor, good to see you.
Okay, we have, if you remember, we have our printout that you received a few days in the mail ago, and we're in the paragraph beginning with the words "v'efshar." If you see it there in front of you, Mayor.
Yes, my arrow is right there. Thank you.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So Lou, maybe just start that line again, so we're all together.
Okay, ve'efshar she'yeh nivra vo hadvarim hativaim shaharei hu yoser b'midrega b'sheshes yemei hamaaseh. So it's impossible that it should be that the creation of these things is natural. That it's a greater level than the 6 days of the week. Ulefichach nivro vo elu divarim she'enam tivaim gemorei. Therefore, these things are created in such a way that they're not completely natural. V'hem kruvim al hateva, but at the same time, they're close to being natural. Kichol elu divarim heim divarim gishamayim.
Gashmayim.
Gashmayim. That because all of these things, they are physical things. Mitzad shehem gashmayim heim dvarim tiva'ayim, and in that they are physical, they are natural. Umitzad she'enam kamo she'ar dvarim tiva'ayim heim yotzim min hateva, and from the perspective that they are not like other things that are natural, they are removed from nature. Ne'emar al zeh she'nivro bein hashmashos shel erev Shabbat, and we can say concerning this that they're created in the twilight of first Sabbath. Ukavar ha-tivar ki chol tavar sheyesh bo kedusha roy lo misaper asara
Mispar
asara, and that all things that that have within them a holiness are properly associated with the number 10. The ain kedusha b'fachos ma'asra, and me'asara, and holiness is not less than 10.
So this, yeah, good. Go ahead.
meaning you have to have a minion to say things that are Kodesh.
Right, that's how we were explaining yesterday, that there's a concept here that there has to be for those things which are Kodesh, that since they're associated with the numerization of 10, right? So just as an example, like when you want to have say Kaddish or Kedusha, Kriyas Torah, things which are Dovish Kedusha, so you need to have a quorum, and you have to have a minion of men to allow you to say that, because the Kedusha demands that there be a numerization of 10. So also apparently what he's indicating here, the morale is indicating that these things have a certain Kedusha to them. So also they had to be created in a group of 10 because of the holiness involved with it.
Also, when Abraham was negotiated for Sodom, he went down to the number 10, and then I think Hashem left him or something.
That's a very good point. Yeah, very good, and that's relevant to this week's parsha as well. Very good, Mayor. Thank you. That's a very good point. That the minimal that was required to save Sodom would have been 10. Less than 10, we wouldn't have been. And we saw it was unfortunate that it wasn't successful of Avinu's efforts to save Sodom.
Kamo tivaer lemala kamo ka'amim v'hu davar mivoar ma'od. It's like we explained above, that many times, and the matter is very explicit.
Meaning that concept that Kedusha is related to 10. 10 is a reflection of the Kedusha of the things was being numerized and required to have 10.
Weiter?
Yeah.
Ichach shanui shano b'ma'aseh asara divarim nivro bein hashmashos shel erev Shabbos. Therefore, what is this word shano?
It's learned. Shanu. Therefore, it was learned. The Mishnah, therefore, was learned in the Mishnah.
In the Mishnah, the 10 things that were created on Erev Shabbos. Okay, so in other words, that's why the Mishnah learns these things.
Right, and specifically 10, meaning that it's telling you, the Mishnah is one of the things the Mishnah is teaching you, is that these things have a certain Kedusha, and therefore they were required, there were actually 10 of them which were created, indicating the Kedusha involved as well.
Ki mipnei she hazman shel erev Shabbos bein hashmashos yesh bo bechina shel kedusha, because before the time of Twilight, Erev Shabbos, there was what is Bechina?
That mipnei is not before, but because of. Since because Hazman Shabbos Benish Moshes, right? Since that time on Erev Shabbos, which is Benish Moshes, Yeshbo Bechina shel kedusha. It has an aspect of kedusha.
Okay, so because that time has an aspect of kedusha, b'ma shehu yotzer misheshes yemei hamaaseh shehem chol. With
Meaning there's even though see Benish Moshes, that twilight zone before Shabbos actually comes in, meaning even though we take Shabbos in, I mean there are different stages. Meaning, for example, here in Shalim, candlelighting is 40 minutes before Shkia, right? Meaning Yerushalayim is 40 minutes before Shkia. Other places in the world are less, but that's already the time when Shabbos should have been accepted upon ourselves, that we take on Shabbos, even though it's not exactly Shabbos yet. I mean, we actually discussed these kind of concepts several times before. If you remember by Furst Omer, remember when we learned the halachas. If today is, for example, if we count the Omer, today is the 10th day of the Omer. So before Shkia, and really Litkatila, you should wait till Tzeit Chavim to say the next sphere for the counting of the 11th day. Today is the 10th day, and it remains the 10th day all the way till actually Tzeit Chavim. However, after the sunset, it can in certain aspects rightly be called the next day. You see, similarly with Kriya Shema, right? When we learned the halachas of Kriya Shema, especially for Ma'ariv, right? That because Kriya Shema is not dependent on day and night. Kriya Shema is dependent on the time of waking up and the time going to sleep. So therefore, you don't have to necessarily wait till actually Tzeit Chachamim to say Kriya Shema. Litkatila, you should, to be Yotzi all the days, to be fulfilling all the halachas properly, you should wait till Tzeit Chachamim. But it's enough if it's done after Shkia, because then it's the time people are going to sleep. But really, in terms of like the Omer, you can't really count the Omer until it's Tzeit Chachamim. From sunset and onward, it's lit b'diavad, because it's not completely the new day. It's not completely the 11th day. Likewise, Bein Shmashis, when Shabbos comes in, even though we've taken Shabbos in from say 40 minutes before the sunset anyway, in sunset, now it becomes what we call Suffolk Yom, Suffolk Laila. Is it the previous day still? Or is it the new day, Shabbos, coming in already? And we don't really know. At some point or another during Bein Shmashis, there's a change, and it's finally understood absolutely without a shadow of a doubt at the time of Tzeit Chachamim, when the stars come out. But there's still a certain kedusha of Shabbos which is inherent in the time of Bein Shmashis. That's what he's explaining here.
okay, so it goes out from the 6 days that are ordinary. Ulechach nivro bizman zeh asara devarim, and therefore it was these 10 things were created at this time. Kamo shenivra ha'olam v'chol sheshes yemei bereshis. Like that, the things that were created during the 6 days of creation. Asara ros, with the 10 statements. Mitzad she ha'olam Devak ha madrega ha elone shemura al ze misaper asara kamo sheha tivaar. From the perspective that that the world, what is this word devak?
Literally, it means to be connected to.
It's connected to the level,
Elyona, the higher level.
the high level, that we learn concerning this, to count 10 like Shehativar, like in with nature.
You know, Kamo Tibar, as it has been explained.
As explained.
Oh, so one second. Let's just go back and go over this again. Lakak Nivru, therefore these 10 things were created, Nazmanze, in this time. The 10 things. Kamosh Nivra Ha'olam, Bikol Sheshis Yemeama Abrashis, Vasarmamos. And just as it was created, the world, in all those 6 days of Maisa Bereshis, with the 10 Marmaras, Mitzad Sha'olam Davik B'Medreg Yona. Since that the world was connected to this higher level, Shamora Alze Mispa, which is Shamora, the word Shamora means indicated, Alze Mispar Asara, which is indicated by this numeration of 10. The fact that it was enumerated 10, that's an indication of the higher level, meaning the Kedusha that he mentioned before.
As was explained. V'chach nivro asara dvarim mitzad hazman shehu ben hashmash os v'chach. So
Therefore,
therefore, the 10 things were created from the perspective of the time that is twilight. He mitzad shehu ben hashmashos, and from the perspective that twilight, yesh bo kedusha, there is a holiness to it. The whole a love asara, and all holiness is appropriate to be associated with 10.
okay.
Shaykh is appropriate.
Shaykh is it's associated to her. It's called kedusha shaykh. A love asara. All kedusha is associated with 10. So 10 is associated with all these things of kedusha.
Okay.
Now, in this last paragraph, he's really sort of summing up and answering at least one of we had several questions in his original paragraph. I think let's go back and review his original paragraph, and then I think we'll be able to follow this 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 last summary a little bit better. The first, take a look. The first paragraph is just 2 lines. I think it's yeah, I think it's in the second one. Let's go back to the beginning, and I think it'll be help clarify this last paragraph, the summary that he's making here.
Okay.
So I think I lost your signal.
You lost me?
Oh, very good. Now
Oh,
now
there
you're
you
back.
are.
There you're back.
Okay, sorry about that. Lefichach shanu b'maaseh asara divarim nivro bein hashmashos shel erev Shabbos. Therefore, we learned that the actions of these 10 things were created on twilight of the first Shabbos. So therefore, we learned about these 10 things that were created on the Shabbos. He mipnei hazman shel erev Shabbos bein hashmashos yeshpo bechina shel kedusha, because this time of the first eve of Shabbos, the eve of the first Shabbos in the twilight has had an aspect of holiness. Bima shehu yotzei misheshes yemei hamaaseh shehem chol. And in this, it goes out from the 6 normal days, 6 days of normalness. Ulechach nivro bizman zeh asara devarim, and therefore these things were created. These 10 things were created. Kamo shenivra haolam b'chol sheshes yemei bereshis, like those things that were created in the 6 days of creation. So in other words, the 10 things that were created twilight of erev Shabbos are like all the things that were created during the 6 days of creation.
Oh, so now go to the top of the page, the very first lines of the Ramchal here. Say Parashat Mishnah Zos at the very beginning.
Peresh HaMishnah Zos.
One second, Lou. I'm not hearing you properly.
All right, let me move the microphone.
Okay, that's much better. Good, thank you.
We're better now?
Yeah, much better.
Okay, so the explanation of the Mishnah, of this Mishnah, why it is required that the sages said that these things were created in the twilight of the eve of the first Sabbath. Devar zeh hazman shel erev Shabbos bein hashmashos hu hagorem. This matter of the time of Erev Shabbos in Twilight was the cause. The time of Twilight of Erev Shabbos, of the first Shabbos, was the cause for why we had these 10 things, why we have to talk about these 10 things.
So that that was one of the points we were trying to understand, meaning this concept that the Banish Shmoshes was the Gorah, meaning these things apparently couldn't have been created any other time. That they had to have this time period of Banish Shmoshes, the unique qualities of Banish Shmoshes, for them to be created in that particular time.
And
That's what he means here.
and the qualities are the fact that they are they have this dual state of being normal, being whole, and being kodesh. That they have a physicality to them, but they also have a kedusha to them.
Right.
Whereas but how is that different from the 6 days of Bereshit? They also have a physicality and a kedusha.
Well, physicality, yes. I'm not sure if there's kedusha to them. I mean,
Light, doesn't light have a kedusha to it?
well, look, I mean, each thing. I'm not sure if it's considered to be a kedusha to it. I mean, the concept of light, in terms of its contrast to darkness, but it doesn't have a particular aspect of kedusha, meaning it's all the things that were created during the 6 days of Ma'aseh Bereshis. They're natural things from their physical point of view, but there's nothing inherently kodesh about them, meaning they have their place in the universe, their mission in the universe to accomplish, but they don't have that unique aspect of being kodesh, like Shabbos is kodesh.
Let's compare light to the mouth of the donkey.
Mhm.
So light has a physical aspect, that we have light. Light exists in the world. It lights things up. We can see from it. And light has a miraculous aspect, that Hashem said, "Vayihi or," came from nothing. The mouth of the donkey has a physical aspect to it, and that it is the mouth of the donkey. That's a physical thing. It has a holiness to it in that it's a miracle. But isn't light also a miracle? That Hashem said, "Vayihi or."
Yeah, I mean that goes for everything. I mean, everything that exists is somewhat miraculous, but there's an aspect of being miraculous, which is mala mederech hateva, right? But then there's something else which is kodesh. Something which is kodesh has a certain holiness, a certain sanctification to it. Meaning, those things which are miraculous can be completely physical without any kedusha. You can have a miracle, which is when the water in Mitzrayim was turned to dam, right? Which was an open miracle. Does that mean the dam has kedusha?
Well, I would ask the same question about the mouth of the donkey. What is holy about the mouth of the donkey?
Oh, okay. So that's valid. That's valid, 100%. The fact that it has been created during Benish Moshes, that is the way we're being taught this by the Maral, is that gives it a certain kedusha, right?
Well, wait a second. Which is the cart and which is the horse? Are we saying that because it has the dual aspect of kedusha and chol, therefore it's appropriate for it to be one of the 10 things? Or are we saying that because something is the 10 thing, is one of the 10 things, it has those two aspects?
Mhm.
I would think it's the first. Because it has the two aspects, therefore it fits in the 10 things.
I was thinking the following, that because there was whatever there were necessities for these things to be created. Okay, certain necessities, whatever they are, and hopefully we'll go into each one and try to understand the aspects of each specific thing. The fact that the time of their creation, right? Meaning we asked the question before. There were many things which were miraculous that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was done throughout the generations, which were done, but were not created during Ben Ishmashus, right?
Right.
And that question, we haven't answered that question yet, right? But it could be this is the beginning of the answer to that question, meaning the morale is introducing this concept that because of the time period in which these things were created, that gave them a certain aspect of kedusha. The kedusha, just like Shabbos is kadosh, so it infused into these things a certain aspect of kedusha, which at this point I don't completely understand what that has to do with it. Meaning, like you said, meaning, is it necessary that the donkey's mouth should be kadosh, right? Doesn't seem to, on surface, it doesn't seem to be necessary, right? The staff of Moshe Rabbeinu, like according to those, is the staff of Moshe Rabbeinu, or the isle of Avram Avinu has to be kadosh.
Right. That's what I'm wondering also.
But apparently, there is kedusha in these things, which, as we said, apparently is not in other miraculous things, like the dam in Mitzrayim. No apparent kedusha in the dam in Mitzrayim. Now you might say, look, right in front of your eyes, it's an open miracle, right? Coming directly from a Kadosh Baruch Hu. So that makes it very, that's something that belongs in a museum, no?
Yeah, it's something that's unique, something that's very special. And those are characteristics of holiness.
Could be, but things could be unique, but not necessarily holy. Kadosh Kodesh. You have the Hope Diamond, right? The Hope Diamond, a very valuable, exquisite jewel, and worth millions, billions, whatever it may be, but doesn't necessarily make it Kodesh.
Right.
So that's what we have to try, and we're going to go through these things, next week, try and go through these things and try to understand where's the element of Kedusha in these different things, and why are these things specifically considered to be more Kodesh than any other miracles that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has been doing from the time of creation. Not the Teva of Noah, right? You go up there in Har Ariat, you look at try and find the remains. There'll be Kedusha in it somehow.
I would think so. Well, you're right, it doesn't. So it's very hard to understand.
Right. And on the other hand, you see that there are things which were not created during Benish Moshes that have Kedusha. Like I mentioned earlier, Sefer Torah. Sefer Torah has Kedusha, right?
Right.
The
And
tefillin,
it's not even miraculous.
not miraculous, right? The tefillin that you're making, right? I mentioned to you, when you have a chance, speak to your son-in-law. When does the tefillin become kadosh? Meaning, do you have to treat the ore that you're dealing with, the leather that you're dealing with now? You've set it aside. You're actually forming it into the shape of tefillin. Does it have kedusha like tefillin, like regular tefillin does? I mean, tefillin, you can't bring it into the basic kisei, right? Can't wear tefillin into the bathroom, right?
Right.
Ask your son-in-law. If I want, can I bring this into the bathroom?
Good question.
And if yes, okay, when did it take on that aspect of kedusha?
Right.
And if no, so when will it take on that aspect of kedusha? Okay?
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. The prayers that I say, we do not contain any reference to holiness.
Right.
Say
You're
what
simply doing this.
I
Go
say
ahead.
everything that I'm making should be for the sake of tefillin,
Right.
but I don't say anything about the holiness of it.
Right. Right. So, okay, that's something we can, we're going to have to work on as we go through this in more detail, Bezrat Hashem.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Amen, Hashem. Okay, so let's take a little break for a few minutes till the Shir and Halacha. And
Excellent.
we'll, I guess tomorrow's Erev Shabbos, so I guess 9:30 tomorrow.